Welcome, everyone, to Rebirth, a D&D tale, episode 93. Where we had left off, the Lucky Sevens, our band of adventurers, had made their way to the city of the Drow to negotiate with General Roderus and the Queen of the Drow herself about the participation of the Drow in the war against the Shadowhar, to create an alliance between the Empire and the Drow. One such stipulation, however, was that if the Queen was to send a lot of her troops to the front lines of the war on the surface, she would need assurances that her people would not be harried in the meantime by their current threat, the Illithids. And so, as part of the deal, the Lucky Sevens have delved into a nearby nest, probably the largest nest known to the Drow at the moment. And after having cleared it out, having dealt with an abomination that really none of them had any experience with, and catching their breath for this moment, we find them looking around, possibly for more of these illithids to get rid of, but with the major threat dealt with, it may just be finding what they could salvage from this place at this moment. So, the creature has just been destroyed. Its flesh and blood now just sort of scattered amongst the stone floor. And the rest of the facility, the klaxon of warning, still going off in this nest. Not that any of you have any real knowledge about how to turn it off per se, but that just could mean that more can be coming, or that it's a warning to go away, to get out, to leave. And one such illithid was attempting to tell you to do the same before you removed him from existence. So, Lucky Sevens, with this being your current situation and the time for rest may or may not be in your hands, what do you decide to do?
Well, until the alarm's off, this place is secure. There's not much we can do. We need to go back. This entire plan hinges on the idea that we're able to end up here creating this merger, this alliance. In order to do that, they need to be sure that they are not left open. Thankfully, Lucky Sevens have a particular knack when it comes down to applications of violence. It doesn't, or it helps that we're up against Philip. It's a creature that, for the most part, is mostly made of squishy tentacles than any kind of armored force. Smart, but not infallible. Imagine as we're looking over the remains of our fallen foe, trying to end up scavenging what we can in order to ascertain any kind of information or perhaps riches I imagine a few of them would appreciate. I am currently looking to see what might be further down. Also keeping an eye out in case reinforcements suddenly show up, as we have just finished making an incredible mess.
Lagon would be looking for a pedestal, or I forgot how you described it the last time. Something similar to the room where we found uh, Alira and Kaz that might potentially control the alarm or other parts of this area.
Since you haven't really had much experience with illithid technology to begin with, you kind of understand what their terminals look like, but being able to read the terminals and understand the deep speech or the other sort of sort of machinations of the thing, that's going to take a little bit more of a roll to see if you could actually um, get that to going. So, roll me an Arcana check at disadvantage.
I was going to ask, does comprehend languages actually change any of that?
You'd be able to understand any words that are on the screen,
Okay.
but understanding how that goes about, that's gonna take some more than just an
Oh,
understanding of the words.
okay. Okay. So, let's see. You said Arcana.
Yep, Arcana at disadvantage.
That's 17.
Okay. You get an understanding that the that these terminals are used for a lot of things, especially when you start using comprehend languages as a way to kind of help you decipher them. There's con- you're looking specifically for a control panel for the alarm. Is that what you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay. Immediately in your vicinity, no.
Hmm.
It is. Um, you're still kind of in the entryway to this building. There's rooms deeper down. That much you know for sure. Um, but as far as what you've explored so far, if you're choosing to explore the rest of the building, then you might find the control for the alarm, but it is not immediately in your vicinity.
Okay.
The control panels that you see for this floor kind of deal with um, deal with lighting, um, maybe some general controls. But as far as the alarm, you see that there are sort of flashing lights all in the hallways that kind of are in sync with the sound of the alarm, but the sound is kind of blaring from all directions.
Okay. Like Alira, I'm going to help try to keep an eye out for potentially somebody trying to come check us out.
Okay. What about Vanya?
Vanya's looking around, maybe heading deeper into the building just to check it out.
Okay. Then, if you're going to be checking out more of the rest of the building, then for that, I'm going to call for a perception check.
Sure, let me get a reminder about what I'm rolling for that. 23.
Okay. Looking as you're continuing in deeper into the facility from where this abomination creature came from, you see along the floor more bits and pieces of dead drow, of dead illithids, blood everywhere. You see obvious tracks of where this thing has dragged itself through the muck in order to get up to where you to the entryway to further get out of the building. There's panels everywhere that are kind of going off with the same alarm. You eventually find a chamber as described before, where the pools of brine had been completely emptied. That very little is left of the illithid and drow that were working here.
Just taking a look around, see if we can learn anything more about that creature or the illithids for our own purposes.
Do you understand deep speech or no?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Then, kind of just pushing some buttons on the panels between yourself and Lagan, just to find out what this place is all about. You get a lot of pushback. You get a lot of that you're not an authorized user or something to that effect when you touch any of the interfaces. And you find that when you touch them, they try to reach out to your mind a little bit to try and gauge your intent. But not that it's harmful to you, but you kind of get this buzzing in your brain that you're the wrong kind of creature.
Yeah, I don't like that sensation, but getting nothing from that, just going to poke around the rooms. See if there's anything to be picked up. Maybe stuff they can use later on.
Okay. All of which you're kind of collecting into your bag of holding and things.
Yeah.
As far as this facility is concerned, there's no more threats on the inside. Everything that was in here is dead. Pods have been emptied. And those who got caught by this thing were devoured in pieces, and maybe there's a foot or a hand or a head left behind. And that's all that's left of anyone who wasn't quick enough to make it to the top floor before meeting you all.
And how many other buildings were there in this area?
There's a couple of other facilities, but their alarms have also started to go off, as you can hear from the rest of the chamber, as this is a what used to be a drow village chamber.
Yeah. Okay. Gonna start making our way back out and maybe check out another building.
Okay.
Might as well poke around as much as we can before we head back.
All right.
Indeed, make sure that we've cleared out as much as we can.
Mm-hmm. As far as as far as like intellect devourers that you run into, obviously you can, uh, with the help of Kurobe and with Kaz, you can deal with them very quickly. It's it's but you find that anything that anything living still is making its way towards exits. Any exit tunnels, um, anything like that, they're making their way for. They're not sticking around. They're scattering like cockroaches.
Okay. Suppose the question is if the group wants to push on or not. Hunt down the stragglers.
Hmm.
Well, definitely would prefer to end up hunting down the stragglers, just to be sure. Remember what our job is here. You
That's why I
want
was
to.
suggesting it.
So, are you going chasing after stragglers, or are you going to?
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds like it.
If no one else is saying otherwise.
Okay. In which case, further into the city, you do see that there is a couple of illithids that are kind of, you know, floating their way out of this village space, kind of, and kind of as if you're observing them, they look almost frightened, if you could put an emotion to them. They're moving as if they're scared to get caught.
By us or by that creature? If they didn't know it was already dead.
It's hard to know without listening into the conversation.
I'd like to try listening if I can.
Okay. Are you doing so sneakily, or are you just running up and interrupting him?
Doing so sneakily.
Okay. So you're going to sneak up on these two. Then
Yep.
roll me a stealth check.
Here. 21.
Okay. You're fairly confident in your stealthing abilities. You start to roll your way up. And as you get closer, you start to hear a bit of their conversation. You know what this means, don't you? One says to the other. The second then replies, "Of course I do, you idiot. This means we've failed. That we have nothing left here. There's nothing left to gain by staying in this place. The only thing we could hope for is that it's still here by the time we want to try again." And then the first replies again, "We're running out of time. We're running out of time, and failures on this level is catastrophic. I realize that," the second says. "It's all the more reason for us to go back to ground, rejoin the others, and try again in a century." We don't have a sentry, the first one says. We must gather back together and rebuild our forces. And then they start to hover off.
Is there anyone else with me at the moment?
I don't know. Is anybody else with you?
I'll go ahead and be with you.
I've got a dumb idea.
Arya would have also heard this conversation. Arya, roll me a stealth check.
Oh, right. Let me do that really fast. 1 second. I will just do it on the roll 20 because I want to be lazy again.
Okay.
There I am. Stealth.
Okay. You're fairly confident in your stealth. So you are here.
Yeah. I am here. And I'm hearing this entire conversation. What was the conversation? I'm sorry, I was busy with tech issues.
Yeah, the Illithids were conversing back and forth, realizing that they completely failed in their mission and are trying to head back somewhere else to regroup.
Oh, okay. And is this is this deep speech or is this
This is their
telepathic?
telepathic.
Oh, telepathic. So I'm just infiltrating their minds on this. Okay.
Well, the way that they speak is kind of an aura, but
yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't really know if they're trying to retreat and they're pulling back. I think that gives us a little bit of an opportunity. If we can find out where it is they're trying to make base at this point.
We
could end
follow
this.
them. Yeah, we could follow them, or we could capture and interrogate these two.
I will leave that up to you. If we follow them, that's on your magic.
I think we'll follow them for a little bit.
Okay.
Get the rest of the party up there, and obviously pass without trace being used.
Okay. So if you want the whole party to go with you, okay.
Are they more than 60 feet away?
From you, yes. They are not from Vanya and Arya.
Are they more than 300 feet away?
Not necessarily.
Check, make sure that's 4th level. Yes. Okay. Well, if they're within a 300-foot range,
okay,
I am going to cast Ice Storm.
Okay.
It's it's a 40-foot area, 40-foot high cylinder. Each creature in the cylinder has to make a dexterity saving throw or take 2d8 bludgeoning damage and 46 cold damage, or half as much.
Okay. So I have a question here. Are we wanting to attack them and capture them, or are we wanting to follow them?
I was wanting to attack them and capture them. I'm not close enough to hear the conversation between you and...
Yeah, I was assuming that one of us would have gotten back to get you guys.
Oh, I definitely would have.
Okay, if we're trying to follow them stealthily, because I misunderstood that, then I would not be casting Ice Storm yet.
Okay.
Because if they're going to meet up with a larger group, we can just follow them down and take out even more,
Right.
potentially.
No, I understand what you're saying. I was
Yeah.
misunderstanding what we were doing.
That's where I got confused. Like, I was just assuming one of us would have gone back to get you guys, because Paths Without Trace is definitely going to be a thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely would have told everyone, plan, follow them to their base. We are just going to conserve our powers until we can just burn their reserves.
I'm going to do one extra thing. I'm going to use Hunter's Mark on one of them
Okay.
Oh,
for
Great
easier
idea.
tracking.
That's interesting. There's no saving throw for that, right?
Nope. Choose a creature you can see within range and mystically mark it as your quarry. Until the spell ends, you deal an extra 1d6 to the target whenever you hit it with a weapon attack. And you have advantage on any wisdom, perception, or survival check you make to find it.
Okay.
And it lasts for up to an hour.
Okay. Because I'm.
Oh, wait, I can't do that. Never mind. Pass Without Trace concentration.
Yeah, both would be concentration, so you'd have to pick one.
So, Pass Without Trace. We kind of need the stealth.
Okay. So, that means that everyone should now roll stealth checks to be able to follow this thing, or these two.
26.
Okay. I'll roll for Kaz and for Kurobe.
25. And then Zephyr. Are your stats, my friend?
Kaz is going to be a 37 with Path Without Trace. And Kurobe
I don't know why I rolled for Zephyr.
No, 29 with Pass Without Trace.
also 29 for Arya.
Zephyr's at 30 with Pass Without Trace.
Natural 20.
I don't know why I rolled for him.
Yeah,
24.
buddy.
I've checked this dice. I have.
So you have a 24 on Alira?
Yep.
Okay.
That's with the Pass Without Trace, right?
Yep. And because you're in plate armor, you rolled a disadvantage, right?
No, I did not.
You're in plate.
Right. My mistake. Nope, stays the same.
Okay, 24 it is.
We take that.
We take those. Okay. And okay, so everybody feels good about their Pass Without Trace numbers when it comes to that. So you continue to follow these two. Eventually, they meet up with with a third who kind of joins them as they're heading towards one of the exit tunnels of the chamber. Eventually start collecting in sort of a larger group before heading directly towards that tunnel again. This larger group is of like 5 or 6.
Okay.
And they all have this same sort of feeling about them, where they're just looking to leave. Cut their losses and leave.
I'll follow them for a little bit longer.
Okay. How long?
Until either the group gets larger or we get to where they're going.
Okay. The group only really gets to 6 individuals. And they start heading through this tunnel and start heading through this tunnel for hours. Are you willing to follow them for hours, potentially days?
What do you guys think?
here to do a job.
I say we go ahead and finish the job that we have.
I would have to agree. We'll be pushing it at the very bare minimum, but the biggest thing with that is, well, I mean, inevitably they'll have to stop and rest too. So, if we have a means to track them, if we know how to track them, in case they ever get ahead, then I think we'll be fine. Vanya, do you have something? Anything that you would know how to do that? You're one of our 2 expert monster hunters.
The only thing I've really got is Hunter's Mark, but if we're trying to stay stealth as much as possible, I can't do that and stealth at the same time.
Understandable.
But I am still a somewhat decent tracker, even if they are hovering.
Very good. Then maybe perhaps if we just keep some degrees of distance and you were to mark them, then we'll be able to find their stores. The end game isn't those creatures themselves, but everything they have left. So
I can go up to 8 hours in tracking them with Hunter's Mark. I could go for 24, but I've already used my 5th level spell slot, so...
okay.
Opening salvo on that surprise attack.
Yeah.
Okay.
But 8 hours would at least give us time, and if need be, get a little bit closer to recast it.
At the very least, it will give us the opportunity to rest.
Mm-hmm.
So I say we go with that. Is everyone in agreement? I hear no agreements.
I could rest if that's what you need.
Yes. I would very much like to have the capacity within myself to blow things up if anything goes wrong.
Do you have any of your sorcery points?
I have 2 left, which is approximately enough to
Make 1? Or
1 spell slot for level 2, or no, for a level 1.
Oh, it takes 2 for a level 1? I thought it was...
Yeah, the table purposefully sets it so that you're spending a metric F-load of points to restore spell slots. It's not very convenient.
Well, if we took a short rest, you would get all of those back and you could convert them, but then you wouldn't be able to do meta magic stuff either. So
I don't think I restore them on a short rest.
That is a very good question.
Sorcery points. Let's look at it. You have 2 sorcery points. You gain more as you reach higher levels. Blah blah blah. You gain all spent sorcery points when you finish a long rest. Yep. Only long rest.
Long rest. Yep.
Damn it.
Yeah. Okay. The Warlock is the only class that actually has any benefits from a short rest. Every other class is just like long rest.
I get some benefits.
Yeah, some.
We could track them until they rest and then take ours at the same time, whenever that's going to be. And then if it comes down to it, I can just use Hunter's Mark on them. We can take a quick rest and then take off after them again.
That might work. Either way.
I think that would be best. Track them until they go to ground and then...
Do they rest?
That's a good question.
That's the question.
Who has anyone has any knowledge checks to determine whether or not mind flares rest?
I could make that check. They're aberrations, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
I
Yeah.
can make that check. Greater favored enemy.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Then yeah, make a. Since it's a creature. That's a very interesting thing. I'm going to say. I would say an intelligence check of your choice. And whichever one you choose, I will flavor the knowledge appropriately. So, you're looking to know whether or not they rest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, let's just make that a Arcana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, I have advantage then. Sweet.
Yeah, because it's an intelligence check.
Yep. I was double checking because I know it's like I have advantage on the survival checks to track them. I was just double checking the intelligence one.
Pardon me.
Bless you.
Nat 20.
Oh wow. Okay.
Funnily enough, the second dice was almost a 22, but it was sitting at 19.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you would know that they have some magical abilities themselves too. And those magical abilities sometimes do need a day to rest and recharge, much like any of your other spellcasters like yourself. That there are some things that they can do that would require a rest. Now, whether they need to rest beyond that, as in actually like sleep per se, that you haven't found solid knowledge on that, whether they actually sleep or not, because no one really knows. Even in all of the books regarding aberrations of every single variety that you've studied so far, do they sleep? They're alien for certain. They're not really from this world. So to say that they actually sleep like humanoids do is a toss up. But resting to regain certain things that they can do on a daily basis, that much you would know for certain.
Yeah.
How long that rest needs to be, well, that remains to be seen.
Well, I suppose we're about to find out then. We've got a job to do. Might as well finish it.
Okay. Now, again, I'm going to ask you, are you willing to spend days tracking them?
I will leave that up to the others. You guys want to spend days doing it?
I believe our mandate was to clear them out. Make sure they can't or don't return.
Specifically from that nest.
Yeah.
I will point out.
Oh, we had specifics
So
of the nest.
All right, just to be clear, as far as Alira is concerned, have we ended up fulfilling the contract to the letter?
Yes. Whether you do more than that is up to you. But you will also remember that if you go days without checking in, obviously the queen's going to think you died. And may the conversation she's currently having with General Roderus may not go as you planned.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then maybe we should reevaluate and return first before we continue this.
Okay.
We could just take this group out and return, then, and if that's the case.
Okay. I'm
If,
happy with that.
What's
if,
another group of 6 taken out from the same nest?
if it does require days, I could always use ascending to let the queen know.
Yeah, we've also got other things to get back to, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, because
Right.
That
you
being
could
that
spend
case.
probably decades clearing out the entirety of this underworld
Yeah.
of Illithid. The queen specifically said this nest, and you
Yeah.
have a pretty good idea as to why.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll just deal with this last remaining group and head on back.
Okay,
Yeah.
how do you intend to deal with them?
I've got a 300-foot range for an ice storm
Okay, you
that I
don't
was.
you don't need sky for that, right? That's just a manifestation of
No,
cold.
this is not the call lightning.
Okay,
Uh, it doesn't have anything that says if you don't have X amount of space or open, you can't do this. No, this just says that hail of rock hard ice pounds the ground in a 20-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder centered on the point. It's a dexterity saving throw. The creatures take 2d8 bludgeoning damage and 46 cold damage on a failed save or half on successful. Hailstones from the storm's area make it difficult terrain until the end of my next turn. So they'll be moving at half speed for difficult terrain if they have any such qualifiers.
okay. Well, then let me roll some dexterity saves.
17.
DC 17. Okay. So, well, I can roll 3d20s twice. Okay, those are all fails. That one was cocked. I'll re-roll that one. That's 2 more fails. And a 17 would pass. Yes?
Yes.
Okay,
If it
so
beats, it beats.
one of them passes. The other 5 do not.
Okay, so for the 5, that's going to be 15 points of bludgeoning damage. For the one that saved, that's 7 points of bludgeoning damage. And oh boy, that's going to be for the 5 that failed, 17 points of cold damage, and 8 points of cold for the one that saved.
I realize I do not have a pen to keep track of the individual hit points.
Oh.
So, is anyone else shooting off any other magic?
Um, yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and do what we do best here. Does anyone have an extra attack in their setup? I know Vanya does.
I can make 2.
And Alira can. So, obviously, I'm going to cast Haste and I'm going to put that on Vanya and Alira.
Okay.
And I'm just going to maintain concentration on that for the time being. Yeehaw!
Okay.
Alright, firing off a level 4 Hail of Thorns. They need to make deck saves.
Okay. We'll make some deck saves again.
And the initial hit
What's the DC?
is 16.
Okay. So those are for 3 fails. Ooh, one of which passed again. So.
Initial hit's 21.
That'll hit. So you're.
Yep. So one of them is taking 5 points of damage. Those that failed are going to be taking, let me roll it, 16 points. The one that succeeded is taking 8.
Okay.
And then firing off 2 more arrows.
Okay.
A 12 and a 21.
Hits. The 12 does not hit.
Yeah, I figured that. The one time. And the one that hits going to take another 8.
Okay. Lyra, what you gonna do?
We're going in swinging.
You are going and swinging. The boys are also getting ready to get up and swinging too. So.
Dispatch or capture. Those are that is the goal.
More or less.
That's been the vague agreement.
We deal a lot in vagaries around here.
A lot, pretty much.
We narrow it down as the scope of the mission gets more
Yeah, because we went from questioning, do we want to follow them or do we want to capture them, to we're going to follow them, back to kill or capture.
I mean, I've been trying to tell you that for a little bit now. So what's the Lyra gonna do?
Working on it. Like I said, going in.
You are hasted. You can get up in their face and start swinging.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to do the first one.
Most of them are looking pretty brutalized right now, based on the ice as well as the hail of thorns, and are about to take swings to the face with the swords of your companions as well.
All right. Very first one is 14, or no, let me redo the math on there. 18 points of damage.
What was her to hit?
Sorry, I just ended up making a presumption. My bad. I just ended up presuming that a 27 would hit.
Yes. I'm sorry.
No, my bad. My bad. No, I should have announced. Like, 27. No, let's roll right for damage. It's like, oh, okay. All right. And if that one doesn't bring him down, I'm going to bring a second attack.
Okay.
Exact same roll, 27.
Okay. Roll damage.
Okay. I'm gonna do one level 1 smite.
Okay.
So that's gonna be that. $24 points of damage.
Okay. And that one.
I have.
You have a third attack.
Yep.
Go for it.
You said that one's done, or?
I'm not even calculating this. Look, I'm not even calculating it. It is a narrative scene, more or less.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then we'll end up doing the third one.
Because I don't have a pen and I can't keep track of this shit.
No. Then I will end up rolling. Would a 22 hit?
Yes.
And this is an attempt to render that one unconscious.
Okay.
And
Specifically
that
non-lethal?
is, yep,
Okay.
basically flat of the blade.
Okay.
And that is going to be a solid 15 points.
Yep. Unconscious.
Okay, that's one down.
And Kurobe and Kaz end up taking out another 2
Okay.
between the two of them, which is their turns, which would bring us back around to them. One is going to attempt. So there's 4 left. Or 3 left actually. One of which is going to attempt to Mind Blast. So I need all of you to roll me an intelligence saving throw.
All right. Everyone around me gets a +3.
Okay. So the boys get a +3.
So that's a 19.
Which is very helpful because let me look at Kaz. Yeah, Kaz would be a 18, and then Kurobe would be a dirty 20. So they both save.
Vanya's 18.
Okay, save.
18.
Save. Arya?
3.
You do not save, my friend.
Okay, what happens?
You are stunned for a minute, and you take 4d8.
Oh wait, I forgot to roll for Zephyr too. Shit.
Psychic
Oh.
damage.
Psychic damage, that's fine. Let me check to see. Stunned.
Zephyr's at 10.
So 18 points of psychic damage for you. Which means for stunned, you cannot move, which also means you cannot concentrate on spells.
Oh, damn it.
So.
Alright.
So
I'm sorry, my friends.
But I sacrificed my heroic inspiration for Arya to have a possibility to make a reroll to save.
Heroic inspiration. What do you mean by that?
I have a heroic inspiration that I've not used.
Inspiration.
The inspiration.
Oh, you can't use it on someone else. You have to use it on yourself.
Yep.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Yep.
How much damage? Because I'm pretty sure Zephyr's not saving with a 10.
Yeah, 18.
Okay. Let
Hold
me
on.
get this
So
over
Zephyr
here.
is also stunned.
Yeah. Poor puppy. Both our firebugs are stunned.
Yup. Which also means that for the turn, Vanya and Alira cannot.
Can't take any actions.
Yep.
For one turn.
Because they're.
I'm sorry.
Haste sluggish now.
How many? Yeah. How much damage did I take again? It was 18.
18. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh. Is your camera still off? I'm showing you frozen.
Yeah,
Okay.
So for some reason my computer couldn't register my camera and it turned it off.
Oh.
So I was struggling for a second to get it back on and I can't get it back on at the moment. So I think I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need a whole computer restart. So we're just gonna ignore that and move on.
We're fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Can't win, can we?
Yeah. Okay, so that means there's 2 more that have their turns to take, which are going to, both of which are going to make attacks at Alira, because they want another drow. Tentacle attacks. One is a 23 to hit. And the other's a 21 to hit.
Armor class is 21, so yep.
So both hits?
I
Okay.
believe both hits.
Alright. And so you are going to take 2d10 on each of these. So each one hits. First one is 15 points of psychic damage.
Okay.
Second one is another 15 points of psychic damage. And you are considered grappled and must succeed an intelligence saving throw or be stunned as well until the grapple ends.
And that's one per? Or
Yes.
one save per?
One save per.
I would like to activate my armor because as I take a hit, I get to end up doing a little bit of damage.
Ooh, let's go.
5 points of damage. I'll take that roll.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Okay. And saving throw. So
Yep.
that is going to end up being a 14 in the first one.
Fail.
They both failed then.
Okay.
I am stunned and about to get my brains eaten.
Yep, but they can't do it this turn.
Oh.
They have to wait till next turn.
Oh god.
So, leaving the rest of you back to your turn.
Gone.
All right. Well, Ice Storm slowed them down. They're ganging up on Alira.
Yep.
I am going to cast. I'm going to cast a fourth level shatter. I'm going to move close enough to get within 60 feet and cast shatter.
Yep.
In such a way that the 10-foot sphere hits them and not Alira.
Okay, you can easily do so.
That is a Constitution 17 saving throw.
Okay, since there's 3 of them, I'll roll 3 dice. Well, I don't think any of them pass. So full damage.
Okay. So that is going to be, let's see, 4, 7, 31 points of thunder damage.
And all of them are unconscious or dead.
Well, then it's time to round up what's left.
There's nothing
Manacle
left.
them.
All of them are dead.
All of them are dead,
All
including the one that Alira just knocked out.
Well, that one you purposefully, avoided. So.
Right. So
No.
I was saying
I was
round
saying
up
they're
the
either unconscious or dead, depending on what you did.
Okay.
round up the ones that are unconscious.
Only one.
Yeah.
Okay. You're coming with us, homeboy. We're gonna let the Queen of the Drow play with you.
Okay. Shortly after, Arya and anyone else who was stunned is unstunned. So, free to do what you like. You no longer are under threat.
Except for me, who is still technically grappled.
You are not.
And about to have it.
Nope.
Ooh.
You are not, because the guys who were attacking you are dead.
Yep.
Well, shit.
Because Lagon, seeing what was going on, pulled out the big gun.
Yep. He shattered their brains.
Yes.
I'm just gonna run up
And
to
any
everyone.
other non-magical items they have.
I'm sorry, everyone. I don't know what happened. Something just came over me.
We're fighting illithids. My dear, you're fine.
Okay.
Because Zephyr got stuck too. You're fine.
While we're here, anybody need heals?
I can count 2 people who do.
Yeah,
Well, 3.
I'm quite good. I don't need anything because that feast from earlier was rather wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay. Well, let's see.
You have an unconscious Silithid at your feet at the moment.
Do.
I am going to begin restraining it as best as I can, including a freaking rock tied inside that goddamn beak of theirs. Tentacles are going to be tied so tight they have they might fall off before the journey ends up ending.
Okay.
Okay.
Easily done.
I think at some point before too long we're going to be taking a long rest.
We're gonna have to.
We'll still have probably 12 hours left on the Hero's Feast.
Yep, because you've been down in the depths for about that long, so you have half the Hero's Feast that left. So you
Right.
can make it all the way back to the city if you so would like, but you would be pushing on exhaustion by the time you get there.
I think be on the safe side, we'll need to take a long rest to get everybody back up to full
Okay.
on their spells.
You can do so anytime you wish.
We could just head back to the nest, rest there.
Okay. You find yourself a good place to camp up. You kind of going through the city. Also, you do find a variety of different things to loot, to pillage for yourself. Mostly of Illithid and Drow make. So I will reveal to you the hall list that that I created for you all, so that you have that to look at. So among the various items that might be of any interest to you would be some boots of speed, an Ioun stone, a +3 shield, gloves of missile snaring, and a scarab of protection. The scarab of protection having a very spider-like sort of theme to it. So those are among some of the items that you see, but there's a number of different things that are also found during your walkthrough of this nest. So all of that is in the loot handout that I just revealed to all of you.
Yay.
As well as you find yourself a good place to set up camp, as far as well protected, and you can long rest here if you would like to take watches. You certainly may.
Sure.
Yeah. I think before we actually start the rest, tiny hut is going to go up.
Okay, so a tiny hut is also going up. Another layer of protection.
I have a question. Does the shield require attunement?
Yes. I believe. No, well, maybe it does. I don't. Let me see. Let me look at the +3 shield.
If it's a standard +3, no. If it has magical properties or is an artifact, potentially.
No. It is just a base +3. And there are 2 people among your party now that do use shields, yourself and Alira.
Lyra. No, that's why I'm asking, because I don't know what Alira has, but I know what I've got.
So, between Lagon and Alira, you'll have to decide who gets the +3 shield. Which is of very drow sort of look to it.
It probably matches Alira better than me. Anyways.
Aesthetically, yes, it does. But whoever wants to use it, that's up to you. So, tiny hut goes up, and since nothing could actually penetrate that hut without your express consent, Vanya, you aren't at actually any risk of getting attacked. Any attack that might come in, if there is any, would bounce off of the tiny hut because protection. So you don't have to take a watch if you don't want to.
That was kind of the point of putting it up. We don't have to keep watch. We can all just get a rest at the same time.
Okay. And kind of setting it up in a corner where you're well fortified anyway. You can all get your long rest, which I believe at a long rest there is one person who does have the experience to level up. So you get the benefits of your new level at this point in time. Which, Derek, I think that was you.
Was me?
Yeah, you leveled up.
That is correct. I did level up. I actually forgot about that up until this exact moment.
So were you rolling your dice or taking the standard?
I was rolling my dice. That's why I have below average hit points.
Okay, so if you would like to roll health, you may. You can reroll ones.
Okay. That is 3 hit points.
Plus your constitution?
That is 3 hit points.
Oh, man. Yeah, and low rolling all of that. Jesus. Indeed. All right, well, with each of you getting your long rest as of now, you may put your hit points at their current maximum. You may recover each of your abilities that require a long rest and a short rest, and you are ready to go. After several hours, the atmosphere of the chamber hasn't changed, so you're not sure what daylight even is at the moment. But you feel as if you are rested, and you can continue back to the city, and you don't really run into anything that would otherwise be of much of a threat to you on your way back. So there's nothing that really comes up as an issue getting back. It's just a matter of time, and that time is roughly 10 to 12 hours. And so getting back to the city, you see that city life is just the same as always. It's fairly normal. And what do you intend to do when you first enter the gates of Menzer Branson?
I think take our prisoner straight to the queen.
Who is also awake and telepathically talking to you, whether you're ignoring him or not.
Oh, I don't bother enough. Speaking, there's nothing to be explained here. Also, just as a point, I'm putting my ability score up into Dex just to solidify my hit rolls at this point.
Oh, you got an ASI increase?
Yep, at level 12.
Nice. Very nice.
11 and okay.
Very nice indeed. All right. So, are you heading straight for the palace then?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And I am not ashamed and bragging this here illithid here through the streets at this point here, as we end up here going through, adorned with the new shield, so to speak. Now you said that was a +3 shield. Did I
It
catch that
is.
right?
So base is normally 2. You get +3 on top of that, so it's a 5 AC shield total.
Damn.
Yeah. Make you much harder to hit.
Yeah.
Trying to see if I can edit that. I'll worry about that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can worry about applying all of the loot to y'all later, but I gave y'all
Yeah.
the sheet to have a look at, the different things that are on that
Yep.
on that list. So, but you
So
make your
many
way.
useful items.
A lot of very useful things. So you make your way back to the palace. As you're dragging this thing through the city streets, you see that there are a lot of drow who've come out and started to gather in the streets, and each of them seems to want to like spit or throw something at this illithid, and it turns into a bit of a parade in a way, that as you're walking this thing through the streets and dragging it by its tentacles, you're seeing that so many drow are just happy to see it in such a weakened position, and you make your way towards the palace, and sort of very proud of yourself, and you should be, Alira, as you were the one to make sure that Menzo Baranzan is safe at this current moment. And so, in kind of taking the long route back up to the palace gates, you present yourselves to the palace guards as you walk up. They welcome you in, and when you enter, the queen is still sort of flanked in the throne room walls by different guards as well. She is looking upon you all, and General Roderick has taken up a stance, standing next to her as you all walk in, and she stands from the throne as you approach, and kind of looks down at you, Alira.
I take the knee.
Alira of House Mariel. You seem to have brought something with you. She says in the undercommon of the Underdark.
The illithids, they begin to flee. Their situation is untenable, though they promise a return. This one will not be here joining. House Mariel has always prided itself on delivering boons to your majesty and her reign. A tradition that House Mariel has not been able to exercise in quite some time. With a fleeing enemy from our gates, it seemed only appropriate to celebrate the occasion in the old traditions. To bring your enemy low. To end up here breaking them and putting them near beneath heel. And so, House Mariel ends up offering this one here to our queen. That Lothia herself may smile that we have not forgotten our tradition.
You have done us a great service, Alira of Mariel. You have aided this city in being able to survive another day. What did you discover about their intentions?
They're reconnoitering, fleeing our space to prepare themselves for another attempted conquest. Another to defile our lands, our tunnels, our homes. And so, they will be here if our information is correct. They will be preparing for war, preparing for a second invasion. We'll be ready. And I only hope, my queen, with the allies that we may here garner from the surface, as well as the strength we'll find above, and our faith in Loth herself, will not only endure but thrive, and find them once again wanting, but not with just a single scrap tossed to us, taken from their cloak as they run, but the whole of them, that each time they step within our tunnels, they are simply here coming in to be lashed or killed. That the concept of even trying to invade once again is so unthinkable that they have no choice but to end up leaving our sacred home. And with strong allies, such as the ones I have been given in my journey, she gestures to the rest of the Lucky Sevens. I hope that we will make it as a example of what is to come. An honor and grace in a changing world.
And did you learn anything of their elder brain?
Now, Coffee, just to be clear,
Hmm.
the thing we took down last time, that was I forget what it's called. The big one that we took down.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to.
Neolithid?
Neolithid, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, it's been really that long since I looked through my D&D monster manual. The Neolithids are crushed in the place that you ended up forcing us. The Elder Brain had been removed from its location. It would seem that they have already been preparing to end up leaving beforehand. I suspect that might have something to do with the first Elder Brain they had already lost. And realizing how fragile their position truly was.
And to my
And no doubt,
understanding, a Neolithid is a failed attempt at recreating one.
a showcase of their incompetence.
Truly.
And as such, I only trust that the failure comes simply from being put in a weakened state after losing an elder brain not much more than a year ago. Or pardon, no, it would have been, what was that, 5 years ago.
5 years, yeah.
It would seem that they still haven't recovered from that position, and now that we've come in force, and no doubt they know of the allies we are currently gathering, their position has become untenable. But those are questions to ask to your new gift. I have no doubt you will end up acquiring much knowledge in due time, with the appropriate leverage.
Indeed. And she kind of makes a gesture and a snap and a guard, as if knowing this gesture like the back of their own hand, takes the prisoner and begins to walk off with him into another part of the palace. Before the Illithid actually is out of your presence, it is shouting in its telepathy until it is beyond a point where you can actually hear that telepathic link anymore.
Well,
He will be
if nothing
presented as this Illithid will be presented as a warning sign to those that would otherwise threaten the city gates once more. As soon as I have extracted every bit of information and knowledge that this thing has to offer, it will be put to a brutal and long death.
wise ruler indeed. If that is all, I hope that our contribution has made all the difference in your position, my queen.
It has. The General and I have had long discussions about what the alliance would look like should you be fruitful in your endeavor. In anticipation of your return. And thus,
No doubt.
it is by my command that you will have a contingent of our brightest warriors join you all on the surface and go with you to the Grioran Empire. After you have recovered from your excursion to the outskirts of our territory, I'm sure you need nourishment and rest.
A celebration, then.
A celebration indeed. As the House of Marielle has contributed once again to her kingdom.
Well then, we shall not end up occupying more of your time. By your leave, my queen.
You are dismissed. And you and General Roderick actually joins you all and starts to walk with you as well.
General, I'm surprised you're wishing to end up following us. I would have thought you've had much more to discuss with my queen.
We had discussed everything prior. I think there's nothing more that she and I wish to discuss at the moment.
I trust then the relations were fruitful.
Indeed.
And yet
You made good on your end, and thus we will make good on ours, and she will make good on hers.
course. Yet you seem disquieted.
I would rather go home as soon as possible.
And we will be.
I know the feeling all too well, General.
If it's all the same to you, I'm going to head back rather instantly.
Of course, you have a war on the front to end up abiding by.
Yes. I must go to the barracks and retrieve this contingent.
They will serve you well, no doubt.
General Rodriguez,
Yes.
thank you. And good luck.
And you as well.
Expect us in a few months. Possibly a few weeks.
If I may, I'll go with you to the barracks part of the way.
Mm. All right.
Oh! Yeah!
Vanya's shocking Arya out of nowhere.
Vanya's just like, yeah, so I'm just gonna hitch a ride, and Arya's like, oh, we can do that!
Well, she's going with him to the barracks
Well,
partway anyway.
she's going with him to the barracks because she's got a couple of questions that really only he might know the answers to.
Oh.
Whether or not we
Okay.
head back with him is up to everyone else.
That's fair enough. Alright, I'll just let the scene play out.
And he starts to walk with you down the streets.
Being what you are, you might be really the only one who can answer this, but she's been in motion at Zephyr. When we came back, he was different. He wasn't a wolf like he was. It's like he's part dragon or something, and I don't understand what happened.
Do you have a strong connection with dragons? A bloodline, perhaps?
Not that I'm aware of. But
When you say come back, what do you mean?
you remember how we vanished about 5 years ago? We technically died, and the Raven Queen revived us after a time.
So you're in with the gods and their affairs.
Considering who we've been fighting, not much of a shock, really. But
Meddlesome beings, those. In their own way.
yeah, they can be. But really, it's just him that's changed. I watched him die in those chambers down here, and I was able to recall him, bring him back, and he's gone from being red like he is now to being this icy blue back to being this, and I don't understand any of it. I've never heard of such a thing. my only connection to dragons comes from seeing one over 100 years ago to my connection with Rune and Arya. That's really just it.
Dragons are ancient creatures, and being able to call forth a draconic spirit, whether it's something you conjure as some kind of illusion, or you have a pet that's somehow melded itself into the draconic essence. These are the sort of things that were more scientific explorations of the one you call Rune. I am more of a warrior. He was the scientist. He was the brilliance. He was the one who informed a lot of the magic that dragons utilize.
And unfortunately, he is not here anymore.
No.
And you are the only dragon I know at this point.
Yes. I believe a few over the last several hundred years have also disappeared. To my knowledge, there were a few others. But they have since been out of contact.
Well, regardless, I'm at least happy I'm not going to lose him permanently. And I can talk to him properly now. And she'll say that last part in Draconic.
And Zephyr will just kind of draconic dog grin at you. To be quite frank with you, my dear, it is perhaps a uniqueness to you. I can't really say that I've known any other humanoid who's been able to tame a dragon spirit.
Can't say I've ever heard of such a thing myself.
Wormlings would get their own humans to tame themselves, so it's strange to see it in a backwards sort of light.
I'm sure. Just wish I had a better way to explain it.
Well, no one's going to believe that you died. I certainly don't believe it. One does not simply come back to life. If that were the case, my kind would not be extinct.
It's fair. Well, I know of one other dragon out there. She's, from what I know, a bit feisty.
She.
Her name's Selter. The dragon I saw over 100 years ago, I managed to meet her. Maybe she or Cypher would have the answer.
I've never met a Selter.
Maybe when we get home, I can introduce you then.
Indeed. There hasn't been a female dragon in close to a millennia.
Don't know the story myself, I just know she's here. She's flying around.
You're a curious individual.
How so, General?
I don't know. But you are strange.
I've been called strange most of my life.
Well, if you can introduce me to this Celta, I would certainly oblige her company.
I'll try and get a hold of her and Cypher when we get out of here. See if they can swing by. Cypher is her companion? I don't know what you'd call him. If you think I'm strange, he's even stranger. For a human, at least.
Dragon with a human companion. It's almost sounding a bit like the old days. Very curious.
I think it might be a bit better than the old days. From what Arya's told me, at least.
What do you know about the old days?
How she was the songbird. Kept in a bit of a gilded cage, as it were.
She was lucky.
Yeah. Cypher and Celter work together. They're partners in a sense. I'm sorry, he keeps getting on top of the fucking power bank.
Buddy. Well, did you have any further questions for me?
No. No, but thank you for trying to answer them.
You probably would find more answers to your questions in Rune's laboratories, if they still exist. Although they were crushed in the calamity eons ago, so I couldn't say.
Well, from the sounds of it, we've got to make our way over to that area anyway. So, probably check it out. I do have his recent journals, but that hasn't turned up much.
Always tinkering, that one.
Yeah, it might comfort you to know he kept getting into those long rambles of his.
Oh.
Joy to listen to. Never understood a bit of it.
Long-winded. Very, very long-winded. I suppose that's true of the alabaster types in general.
Well, I'll let you get going then. I don't know when we're exactly leaving here, but we might be hitching a ride with you. Have to see what the others want.
Well, I'm leaving first thing, so decide quickly.
We will. Then she'll turn and start heading back.
And he'll start heading. He'll continue to head towards the barracks. In the meantime, is there any conversations between the other members of the party before Vanya gets back?
I, 'm
I do approach Alira. And for a moment I inspect her, her in her shining suit of armor, and maybe, perhaps, even if she's trying to hide it, at this point, now that we are away from the Queen, there is a subtle air of pride. I tilt my head at her. Is this... How long has it been, do you suppose?
Well,
Since...
according... Oh, go ahead.
I mean... I guess, how long has it been since you suppose your family, your house, has had this kind of recognition? And I guess another question is it what you want?
Five generations of matriarch of House Madiel have come and gone. Each a storied history of failure. At our height, we had hundreds of drow ready to go out upon expedition. Come back with thousands by the time the season ended. Our brand was recognized throughout the houses. And then the world burned. The first of these matriarchs tried to manage. Thought we had grown fat enough. We can now focus our efforts on honing, training. And as we did so, our efforts were taken up other houses found, what good are you if you're not able to end up appropriating more labor? Second was to end up finding ourselves crumbling. We instead turned to Lolth. Many tried to become influential within the church. However, rival houses have already ended up taking up position. Wouldn't have it outside of simple clergy. Our coffers run dry, save for a handful of coins. The third had committed suicide due to the shame of what they had inherited. The fourth, having been unable to end up doing much of anything, save for inheriting old title that was recognized only in formality. was forced to be humbled, became a stable hand for our spiders, tried to find some noble purpose in raising mounts for the warriors that would be forced to go beyond the wall to end up fighting the illithids. Now, our matron has a small home where she raises spiders, hoping that her steeds would be enough to end up making a small difference, while trying to end up remaining noble. And many of my sisters had all gone off, married into other houses to change their name, gone into the clergy where they would swear fealty to Lolth and forswear their house, even if only in public view, to scrub the stain away of House Maria. Even I was sent beyond the wall in Goulant's charge. Can you imagine it? I, the seventh born of House Maria, tossed beyond the wall to learn from a man? Just to give grievous insult. But Goulant was respectable. Rare thing I see amongst men. He took me in as a mentor. Very proud. There was still something noble in him, even if he had gone wild, as many would say, mad, others would say. Yet through all these years, not once was House Mariel acknowledged for any offerings offered to the crown or to Lolth. Yet we continue to serve both faithfully. My house is all but forgotten within the walls of our kingdom. This was the first time we have been acknowledged at all as a house. What I want has no bearing on the conversation. So long as it serves Crown, Lolth, and House Mariel, then I will see it done.
Then I guess another question is, rather than want, do you... Does it make you happy? Wear the Bright Queen's armor. For the Queen to recognize your house. To stand in prominence for them.
In truth, no. I know that is asinine. Who would not wish to end up seeing before her ladyship have their house acknowledged? It's everything I thought I would want. But as I knelt there and observed her taking the mind flare from the court I realized something. This is not... This is not going to lead to the prosperity of House Mariel. It is simply a bandage over a gaping wound. Tomorrow, my mother, our matriarch of House Mariel, will continue to place saddle on Spider, as though nothing happened. She will maybe gain a little bit of favor. In the words of Marielle, had brought a flare, and if she is cunning enough, she will leverage that in order to perhaps accrue a small amount of coin. But that is not going to make House Mariel prominent. Not bring it back to the legions of thousands that once raided above. Not fill its stock. Tens of thousands of head ready to be processed. Instead, it's a simple moment of a shining pauper. If anything, my heart is wounded for it. To know that she who gave birth to me, she who continues to carry a name when her own children have cast it aside, left alone to fix saddles upon arachnid. For once that name commanded droves of drow, and respect, and full coffers, and the weight of counsel. It feels as though I am trying to resuscitate a ghost.
I see. I think I understand. It is not that you bear the weight of this moment, but you bear the destiny of several generations of your family.
It's something I found odd upon you in the surface world. I feel alien amongst you all. Not once did I hear Vanya speak of the noble house of Stormcrow, or their accomplishments, or their lineage going back generations. No, in fact, no, I should not cast judgment, as you are a surface dweller. You do not understand it, in truth. And I do not understand you, as much as I try. You throw away whole families on a whim to go on an errand of the heart. To chase after love, you would go dereliction of duty. You would cast aside all the blood from your forebears and throw it away as though their lives, their blood, their sacrifice meant nothing. Because it doesn't mean anything in truth. These notions are something I don't think a surface worlder can understand. You speak the words, you grasp their meaning. But it's just that. Words. I have no idea on how to give you what is truly in my heart, and for you to know it. How it feels to be rended and trying to hold it all together still. And still be able to do so with the airs and graces that were expected once of your house. Not because you are barred to tradition, but because you want to believe. You want to believe that your house is not dead. A defiant scream at the whims of fate, I suppose. But again, something I'm unsure a surface dweller could truly understand its full depth. For it is only here in a moment and cast aside immediately upon a whim of the heart. That's what the lucky sevens have taught me.
I don't understand it fully. For more reasons than one. I have no house, no name, no family. Not because I'm a surface dweller, but because originally I was a slave. And I suppose on that front it would mean that I understand what that means only from an outsider's perspective. I recall dragons very much had the same system, the same philosophies and lineages. And you're right. But even if I don't understand that, thank you for sharing your thoughts with me, because I finally discovered something. I figured out. Go ahead.
She simply tilts her head in confusion, almost a sadness in her eye when she looks at you.
I figured out what you want, Talira. What it is that brought you back.
If that's true, I'm grateful to have a guide from the surface help me find. Though I imagine from your eye it must be appalling to find the answer. And I don't blame you for that. But now you stand free, capable of making your own decisions, with no collar, no mark to claim you, none that holds dominion over your soul. And perhaps from your previous position, you can understand why it is so important to me when I choose this, what freedom truly means. Though I imagine this is a conversation that must be incredibly difficult for you.
Less difficult than you would think. Thank you. Lyra.
For what?
For teaching me.
I only hope to be half as good of a mentor as I had in Gulat.
Arya will bow her head a bit pleased smile on her face, satisfied with what she's discovered.
And when
So,
you
like-
raise your head, you might be shocked to see Lyra doing so, and specifically bowing deeper. Her eye line never goes above yours until you raise.
Arya's eyes will glimmer at that. She won't really know what to say. At that point, her gaze turns back to Vanya, who I imagine is returning now.
However, at this point, I feel the need for boiled spider and roasted shroom. So, let us feast and drink of the venomous nectar that grants us all sustenance, and walk out of the halls drunken in delight.
Pardon me.
Bless you.
Which I think is also a great time for us to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will discover what it is that the Lucky Sevens are going to do next. So, be back very soon, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to Rebirth, a D&D tale. Where we had left off, the band of adventurers, the Lucky Sevens, had reported to the Queen of Menzoberranzan, the Queen Belazerna. And, with her now satisfied with the findings of the Lucky Sevens, as well as the nest that they had been sent to clear has been cleared, they can now relish in the spoils as well as the celebration of the event. So, with this being a celebration of the defeat of the Illithids in that nest, as well as the nest being cleared, as well as the people of Menzoberranzan now being fully aware that they are not under any direct threat for the moment, a celebration has been started. Which, of course, started with the parading of an Illithid through the entirety of the streets when the Lucky Sevens went up towards the palace, but they have since left and now have essentially the key to the city. Can go anywhere, do anything, occasionally being stopped by a pedestrian in the street, and just a random thank you as a member of the Drow city passes you by, Alira, recognizing the armor you wear as well in some kind of status. because the queen did not ask for her armor back.
It is a great honor.
As the festivities are transpiring, I'm gonna go ahead, grab whatever kind of booze, and do my best to swallow it down. I have no idea what kind of swill I'm gonna be drinking here. We're just doing it. If there's drugs, I'll take the drugs. There's alcohol, I'll take the alcohol. Fuck it, we party, we ball.
So you're just going up to a random tavern and going and ordering what the first thing on the menu?
Yeah, I go up to the bartender, I'm like, what do you recommend? Of course, I like gotta have another elf with me, okay? And Vanya's right beside me. She has no choice. I have to have health protection.
Guarantee her choice would be to go with you anyway, but...
And your version of Elvish is very alien to this bartender, but they understand the gist of what you're saying. You offer up a couple of gold pieces, and I'm sure they look at them as they are strange currency in this place. Comparing gold coin to gold coin of their own kind of tests whether or not it's actually made of real metal. Satisfied with at least the value of the gold itself in the metal, not necessarily the face on the coin. The bartender pockets the change and sets out a what would kind of look like a beer, except it's fluorescent yellow.
Oh, dear gods.
Very frothy. It smells a little bit odd. It smells a little bit like mushrooms.
Are you just sniffing it like, is it me? Is it me? Vanya, is this me?
Yeah,
She's gonna drink it.
Yep, Bonnie's gonna try it.
Okay, I need you both to roll Constitution saving throws.
Fantastic, I was hoping for it. Alright, 11. What we got?
13.
Ooh, it tastes bad. But it does have a slightly... It has a very earthy flavor. If you can get past the sort of mold flavor as well.
Wow, it's like sourdough! Effervescent, truly! Okay.
The froth
gonna plug her nose and just down it.
The froth is almost a little slimy, but with a 10, you're able to stomach it and keep it down. You are getting some very strange looks by other drow in the tavern because you are the only pale-skinned people in the entirety of the city.
It's a condition.
With their sort of the sort of ash, like dark, almost ebony skin, their white hair, and the fluorescent colors of their attire. These elves are very much thinking you're strange, but are also very, very much in the mood to tease you, it looks like. So, in Undercommon, which is very, very akin to the Elvish that you understand, Vanya. It's not exact, but you get the gist that this person is buying you both another drink, and they're buying you a shot of something.
Vanya's just gonna give them a big grin. Down it.
It tastes very sweet, this one. It's kind of sweet to start, but very kind of strong on the tongue. And when you down it, make me another Constitution saving throw.
Of course. Oh, thank God, that's better. 18.
You are thankfully not sick. You are thankfully not poisoned.
Cool. Great.
Okay.
Regina, excellent. I'm going to order another one, and whatever sort of fluorescent canister of joy this is, and I would like to bring it to Lagan, and of course Karobe, and of course also Kaz, and just make sure everyone has. I'm forcing everyone to try some.
Okay, I'm rolling some con saves for them.
Great, fantastic.
Lagan is going to cast tongues on himself since he understands jack and shit of all of what everyone else is speaking.
Yep.
Oh, God.
And
that's right.
he wants to order the equivalent, the drow equivalent of an Irish car bomb.
Okay.
Oh, God.
What's all in an Irish car bomb?
An Irish car bomb is a pint of Guinness and a shot that is, from the way I make it, half Bailey's Irish Cream, half either Jameson or Bushmills whiskey, dropped into the pint and shot like a Boilermaker.
Okay. I think there's something of an equivalent to that. It would something a little creamy, something a little beer-like, something a little
whiskey-like,
a little whiskey-like, all kind of mixed together into a cocktail glass, and so it is.
I'm assuming that's going to be 2 separate fucking Constitution checks. Because he just got a drink.
One to stomach it, and one if there was maybe an adverse effect. Yes.
Well,
so too.
because Arya is bringing everybody a drink as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's bringing you this colorful shot that Vanya just stomached, and fluorescent gooey sourdough water.
Yeah. So yeah. My drink first. Let's see.
Kaz is just taking whatever it is you give him and just he's enjoying it. I believe Kaz is immune to poison at this point as a monk, and so
yeah,
he also got a natural 20 on the fact that he's not going to get drunk.
He's not here. It's still rolling nat 20s.
Where Karobe got let's see, what is his modifier? Ooh, his con save's actually pretty good. He got a 22, so he's not really getting drunk all that quickly either. So
Lagan got a 19 for the first Constitution.
Fantastic. Your drow equivalent of an Irish car bomb is, it goes down smooth, it goes down nice, it actually tastes nice. So
do I need to make that second one to see if it's gonna
see if it poisons you? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Because some of these things are made with poison mushrooms.
Well, hey. Everybody enjoys a centipede, no matter what region you come from. Sorry, yeah, it's named after what it's made of. They're really centipede venom. That's where the creaminess comes from.
That's 19 again.
So
Jesus.
No adverse effects.
And then the shot from Arya. Natural 20 for a total of 20.
He's just hammering these things down. Like
It's like the night he met Jalissa.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
Drinking contest.
It's like this man is actually made of rocks because he is having no effect, really, of any of this alcohol. Except for maybe getting a little drunk. But he's just... Where you do see there are some others in the bar who have kind of started to slump over, trying to match you all drink for drink, as and Lagan is apparently drinking this woman under the table, and she doesn't even understand a lick of what he's saying.
Hey, I'm speaking tongues, so she should understand me.
She's trying. Your quote-unquote pronunciation is really weird.
Okay.
But
well,
she's attempting to drink you under the table and is getting handedly hammered.
Logano raised his hand and signaled for another round for the both of them. Hey, how are you tonight?
Fantastic, she says with a bit of a slur.
What is your name, miss? Let me inquire.
I think you learn my name when you have sufficiently beat me.
Fair enough. Another round, bartender.
And another round goes between the both of you.
And in the meantime, Arya is just leaning in to Vanya, and she's like whispering as she's watching the gun. Just look at him go. Look at him every single time, without fail. He manages to snag a lady. I've honestly never met anyone with that much risk. Well, maybe Kaz. Kaz did pretty good. But the gun really just like, I think this is, oh God. What, like the second, third time?
Yeah, something like that.
What is it? What is it? Is it because he's big?
It's gotta be.
It's gotta be. She's just going on like this, like examining him like a specimen.
I'm sure Lagan overhears this with the passive 24 perception and ignores it with that 21 on the Constitution for the next drink.
Oh, absolutely.
and she's matching you pretty good. She's slurring a little bit, but she's matching you pretty good.
Okay, we're gonna keep this going until one of us drops.
Okay. This is the DC.
I have never hoped for Mojo Dice to fail so much in my life.
I know you. I know you're voting for me to roll another natural one like last week. That's another natural 20 for a total of 23.
Bro.
Jesus.
She's handedly matching you up.
That's fine. I'm going to stay with my Vax dice tonight because apparently that's the situation I'm in.
You're in a Vax situation.
Yeah.
You know, Vanya's gonna pull out the guitar, start playing.
If I weren't in this contest, I'd pull out my flute and start playing too.
DC's getting a little harder, so.
Dirty 20.
She starts to stumble.
Lagan puts a hand out and, you all right there, dear?
Just dandy. I think I know why I like you.
Why would that be?
She just kind of grabs you by the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And she is taking you up to a tavern room.
Lagan's not complaining, and he's not drawing back.
Don't
It's
do
very
anything
much a-
stupid, Lagon. Don't
Jalissa
do
does-
anything stupid. Remember where you are.
She's the one. She's the one that.
Oh, no. You got it backwards. You refusing is the thing that's going to get you killed.
Lagan is not refusing. It's very much he's trying to drink to forget, and apparently that's not working. But this is very much like the night he met Jalissa. She's calling the shots. She's initiating all of this. I'm going willingly.
Okay.
He's not complaining.
Not at all.
Nope, not at all. You learn that her name is Olarintra
Olorentra.
of House Tyre. And she's kind of a buff woman. She's like you get the idea that maybe she's a guardman or a soldier of some kind.
You said House Tiber?
Tyre. T apostrophe
Tyre.
A-E-I-R.
Okay.
Tyre.
Okay. Okay.
And
Tyre.
she essentially manhandles you up to a bedroom.
Well, Lagan's not refusing. He's not balking at any of this. She's the one that initiated it. I'm gonna let her lead the way.
And she does. Which we'll fade to black on, as you'll be occupied for several hours.
That's fine.
Leaving the rest at the table.
So what you're saying is in any future campaigns, if we end up running across a very dark, skinned, light-haired half-elf who stands at about 8 feet tall, we know where they came from.
Oh, yes.
Got it.
Oh,
Yep.
yes.
They'll have a few rocky patches mixed in of what looks like mottled black or lightish gray rock somewhere too.
Planning for a child to come out of this.
I'm still waiting to find out what happened with Jalissa.
Half Goliath, half dwarf is going to be a weird one to explain.
6
So you
foot
have
tall
a
dwarf.
human. A oddly colored human.
But that does leave the rest of the Lucky Sevens in the tavern to enjoy themselves however they wish.
I said Vanya's playing.
Vanya is playing some music. Surface Dweller music. You get some strange looks based on the instrument you're playing as well as the song itself, because it sounds very strange compared to the music that you've heard in this tavern before.
Mm. Well, they're introducing us to their culture. Might as well introduce them from something from ours.
All right. Arya, Lyra, anything you're doing?
I suppose, given the circumstances, I'm going to take advantage of my ability as an entertainer background. Let me double check what it is. By popular demand, you can always find a place to perform, usually in a tavern, but possibly with a circus, at a theater, or even in a noble's court. At such a place, you receive free lodging and food of a modest or comfortable standard, as long as you perform each night. In addition, your performance makes you something of a local figure. So I am aiding in this performance. We are going ahead and we are doing the roaming band bit.
Okay. With that, the bartender does give you the go-ahead for a night's rest in the tavern as well as part of your performing. So you bring in a bunch of gold, they'll be happy to put you up for the night.
Oh, wonderful. Very good. That's effectively what all I'm going to do. Have a little bit of fun on that front. Lagan has ran off along with any opportunity to sit down and talk with him, so I'm just going to let him have his fun on that. I'll talk to him later.
Yes, indeed. What about Alira? Is she up to anything?
Alira is enjoying this moment, being the belle of the ball, so to speak. She is drinking in the typical portion of whatever is ordered. The bartender sips it first. Look, it's Drow. If your drink hasn't been poisoned at least once during a gathering, what are you doing?
And the bartender is no exception. But everything that she's tried to slip into other drinks is, well, your companions are made of stronger stuff than she has on tap.
Yep. However, as we end up continuing to drink, we continue to feast. And continue to end up being entertained. I end up observing as Lagan has apparently been courted.
Quite hastily, too.
I worry about this.
Save him.
However, I worry about this. Should I interrupt or not? Well, I don't want to cuck the guy, but on the other hand, there is a very real chance that this is an assassination attempt. Welcome to the Underdark. But then I also remember it's Lagan. I mean, the man could literally be stabbed clean through the chest, and he might notice it tomorrow morning. Okay, so I end up proceeding and drinking. I keep an eye on my compatriots where I can. And I am observing. Though there's a part of my brain that wanders. Thinking of going to temple or something of the like. It's good to be home as I swig my drink and observe the festivities. Though the sound of surface dweller music being brought in certainly does end up making me a little bit uneasy, noticing on how everybody is currently staring at my compatriots. Wondering who's going to end up doing something stupid first. However, I'm also half in the bag at this point. So there's an off chance it might be me. After all, for many decades, I was outside the walls. A tavern was a luxury I remembered in my youth when I was still only a couple of decades old. Now, well, at least for once, we're getting food that's edible.
Very tasty, too.
As opposed to that thing that they end up ordering. We had to eat it at every tavern stop. Every tavern stop. What is it with these surface dwellers and needing to end up eating ground up sand of, or I don't even know how to describe it. It is literally reducing a plant into sand to throw it into an oven to make it get bigger. And they refer to it as bread. And every single time, every single meal, there is bread. This thing that gets caught between your teeth, on the roof of your mouth, has no flavor. You want to die a little bit as you choke it down. It is no wonder they need to end up being drunk every time they end up taking a piece of this. And yet they eat it as though it is a good food. But if, in all honesty, if it's not dribbling all over the plate, it's overcooked. And this is clearly overcooked. It has a hardened shell.
Not like the purple worm larva. Grilled purple worm larva.
It's the closest we have in comparison, in truth, right? Yeah, but it's... Every time you crack it open, it's just bubbles inside. Bubbles.
At least when you crack the carapace of a purple worm larva, you have meat inside.
It's a wonder why it is that, or how it is that the surface world hasn't starved itself out yet. Never understand these people.
All of them strange.
Barbaric, I swear. Can't even have an argument and just civilly drive the axe into the other person's face. What is wrong with that? I continue to end up... I imagine I'm actually having this conversation with myself in slurred words. Just saying it, murmuring to myself, like, what the fuck? And the bread! What's with bread?
Kurobe and Kaz are just listening to you intently.
Every tavern, bread, 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 bread. Why do we eat things made out of plant sand?
Kaz seems very amused.
Plant sand!
I'm sure Vanya can hear this, and there's just this grin on her face, and she's trying not to laugh. But she will be switching over to some of the music she had been hearing since they've been in this.
Okay. Something a little bit more Underdark themed. Alright. Something that actually sounds listenable starts playing Alera with Vanya and Arya as the duo. So, the raucous night's activities go on for several hours.
I will be glad to end up meeting Lagan when he ends up finally getting out, and curious if he was the stabber or the stabbed, and in which orifice.
Well, the gun I would like you to just make me a dexterity save, just because.
Dexterity?
Yep.
Don't fail me now. Okay. That's gonna be a dirty 20.
She tried. She nicked the side of your ribs, but nothing to cry home about.
Just tried to stab me. I think I'm gonna get a souvenir. I'm gonna try and grapple the blade from her.
Okay. Let's do some opposed checks then.
Yeah.
And
what am I? Strength?
Strength, yeah, for grapple.
22.
It's just a strength check? Or
Yeah.
athletics? Okay.
I didn't roll athletics. If it's athletics, it would be a total of 26.
Okay.
If it's base strength, it's +2, which would make it 22.
Okay. Yeah. You've wrestled it away. Maybe she's a little too drunk to actually be paying very much attention this time around.
Tap the blade on her head. That wasn't very nice.
No, but
Kiss her on the forehead, and then you have a good night. I'll have a drink set up for you.
oh,
And
party pooper.
I'll return to the inn below. And if I'm hearing music as I go down, Lagan will pull out his flute and attempt to try and see if he can match the tune that he's hearing.
Okay. So the three of y'all make performance checks.
Okay.
$17.
Okay.
Holy Mother of God.
Holy shit.
I just got a nat 20 for a total of 30. Ooh. Hi, I am playing the best I have ever in the entirety of my existence.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Probably helps if you screwed it up, given the fact you're trying to end up playing drow songs in the drow culture, but simply off of what you heard. And you know you will be knifed to death if you fuck this up with a bunch of drunken drow. Yeah, there's a lot of incentive.
Yeah.
31.
31. Hot damn. Well,
close to nat 20.
Well, it seems like the tavern is actually enjoying what it is that you are playing. They like this sort of weird instruments that you're playing it on, but they're generally of a demeanor where it's not bad, not bad at all. Actually, sounds pretty decent for surface dwellers. Not that any of them have ever actually seen a surface dweller besides the lot of you before. But
I'm sure anybody peeking into the room upstairs probably got an eyeful of top worlders.
With that, you conclude the music that you have performed, giving you all a moment once again to reconnect.
As the song concludes, Lagan would walk to the bar and have a drink sent up to the room with Ola. Another one of whatever it was that we drank the last time.
Okay.
And another one for himself.
Okay.
And then find his way to wherever Alira is sitting.
Okay.
I'm just downing it right as soon as he sits down.
So,
how'd
it go?
Lagan pulls out a dagger you know he didn't have when he left. Is there something behind this, a meaning or something? And he hands it to you hilt first. I at least got her name before she attempted to stab me.
That probably wasn't her name.
If she's lying, then,
no, of course she's lying. I want to end up knowing what you were and how much of a wit you had.
Well, I'm sure you could find out. She says her name is Ola Rentra of House Taya. She looked to be some type of guard, at least from her build.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, they never were particularly good at their assassinations, so congratulations. You just made a mockery of her entire house.
I figured that would have happened when I took the knife from her and tapped her on the head with it.
Hmm?
Should I be watching? Should I grow eyes in the back of my head now?
They should have already been there, though. You can grow eyes in the back of your head. Where else can you grow eyes?
I got one, but I don't think you want to see that one.
Giant can grow multiple eyes. So this is where the legend of the Cyclops comes in. A big, meaty, veiny Cyclops.
Lagan is trying his damnedest not to laugh at this.
You are strange, strange people.
I don't literally grow eyes in the back of my head on multiple.
Then why would you say it?
It's an expression. It's an expression. For always watching your back and making sure that nobody can sneak up on you. Why do you think I normally sit with my back to the wall if we're in a tavern?
I just presumed that was... Well, in all honesty, I always thought you were just top-heavy.
All of me is heavy. Fairly equally. But if my back's to the wall, nobody can sneak up behind me unless they're coming through the wall.
What? No! No, most of your taverns all have boards going upward. It's not hard to just put a dagger behind it. That's it. It's not difficult. You surface dwellers. You ended up getting this. She must either really hate you or really like you.
I think you'd have to ask her on that point, and I'm not willing to be stabbed again. So I'll let you take lead on that.
Well, I guess I can answer that question. Did you both finish?
I believe so.
That she really liked you.
Maybe
Bunch of
that's why she only
freaks.
praised me.
See something exotic, tall, and pale, and all of a sudden feel that they're much like they're having to sleep with their mount. They want to experience the forbidden. She must have really liked you.
I don't know. She'll probably be walking funny tomorrow.
Honestly, I have no idea on how it is that they managed to end up doing so. Still, I guess that could be worth to end up saying. Besides, their house is, if I were to be honest, somewhat garish in nature. You'd enjoy them, as she apparently enjoyed you. So, congratulations.
What do you mean by garish? And I did enjoy her company while it lasted. I don't truly expect there to be a repeat in performance. But I would like to know what you mean by garish and how would I enjoy them?
As she's walking down the stairs, back in her normal garb and armor.
Observe. Takes the dagger. Sits up. Falls back into the onto the stool. Holds up a moment. Slowly gets up out of there. Proceeds to walk over. And takes a napkin off of one of the main dining portions and wraps it around the dagger. Looks up to the guard. So, I was just to be clear, did you end up presuming that a traveling companion of mine, assigned to me by the Queen, would be so easy of a target, or were you just curious?
I was just having a little fun.
Little fun. And what would the court say if you ended up losing your own arm to a surface dweller who you recently here coupled with?
Mm-hmm.
Allow me to... Go ahead.
Well, I recognize you from somewhere.
I'm sure.
Spider herder, right?
Right.
It's been a couple 100 years since I last saw you. You look good.
Well, someone has to keep up appearances. I thought it would be best to end up having this returned to you, lest it end up being discovered that an attempt was made upon an ally to the Queen, to which you swear fealty, while also being
I made
on
no such
guard.
attempt.
She pulls over the cloth off of the dagger to show it to her.
Haven't you ever had any knife play fun?
Fun, yes. But my fun, the target doesn't live to tell about it. That kind of ineptitude is what allowed many issues to end up going out into the field.
Perhaps that's
So
why you
to
don't
save
have
yourself-
a mate.
Take a swig of my drink.
She takes the dagger back from your possession.
Remind me
Whatever happened to
again, you
Gallant?
are...
Was the old codger your mate at that point?
Given that we were out in the field, you was sitting nesting behind walls. Comfortable. While everything outside them fell to pieces. So, let me make this abundantly clear. At this point, we will be going to the surface. You will get to stay behind your walls. You will get to continue to pretend to be a guard of the noble city. And I know this. The spider herder will have a smile upon her face. Because we're going to the surface. And you're going to watch a house reborn. Molted of old skin. And you will be forgotten. In a house that couldn't even perform a simple assassination while bedding a giant.
Who says I was trying to kill anyone here?
Now I'm not sure if you're more insulted on the fact that you failed to do so, or the fact that you're so inept that you couldn't even give it a full-hearted attempt. Please, at the very least, do him the courtesy of actually trying. Though I imagine if your the assassination skills are as good as your betting, no wonder he came about near dissatisfied. But what can I expect from a guard who's more rag and sock than drow?
She's insulted. She's gonna take a swing at you. Like a full-on punch at you, sort of thing.
Okay.
Actually, the dagger she just took back, she's gonna swing at you with that.
Alright. I believe
that is 25 to hit.
that will actually hit.
Okay, so she's going after you with her short sword, like a dagger thing.
Alright.
Let's see. So that's gonna be 8 points of piercing damage. And
That's 1/11 of my health. Gone in one stab.
And then need you to make me a Constitution saving throw.
Would a 23 work?
That works. You do not get poison. You do not take poison damage.
And that is 4 points of radiant damage. In return.
Oh, nope. Actually, you weren't supposed to make the Constitution save. I was supposed to just do poison damage. Because I messed that up. I was looking at the ranged attack. It's 11 poison damage, I'm sorry. So she takes radiant damage because you're using your reaction.
You struck me.
Mm-hmm. Oh. I think that proves my point.
And, well, one good turn deserves another.
I just dropped my dice.
Uh-oh.
I found it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so, remember, drinking,
Yes.
stabbed. Look at drink. I'm gonna end up smashing this over her head.
Okay. Smash it over her head then.
Okay, so that's gonna be... This is not a finesse weapon, so I need to use strength, right? Yeah, rather than dex, which is not my best stat. So it still comes to a 23.
That'll hit.
Okay, how much damage do you figure that's a d4?
It's usually a beer glass would be an improvised weapon, so I would say a D4 plus strength.
Okay. D4 because I'm using it, it automatically gets radiant, and I am now using a level 3 smite.
Ow.
Ouch. Ouchie. Ouchie indeed.
Lolth hates this woman.
Lolth hates this one.
Lolth hates this woman. See? One shy of max damage, 19 points of damage.
Hot damn. 19 points of radiant damage on top of your
D4.
the improvised weapon.
No, that's including the improvised weapon. 19 points.
19 points of damage total.
This is stab, bring glass over the head, drive them into the ground with it, and just watch it. The liquid inside bursts into it like a kind of a shimmering gold field that in the air for a brief moment.
It takes her a moment to get back up. Not bad. I yield. But don't think that we're done, Mario. When you return to Menzoberranzan, you will die.
Perhaps. Or maybe it would be best if you take this as a simple drunken bar brawl and move on. Lest you have to acknowledge you yielded to a stable hand.
Bar brawl it is.
Enjoy your post.
She
Immediately she turns to end up looking at Lagon. I think she likes you.
She gets up to kind of dust herself off and leaves the tavern.
Okay. She plops down, reaches, grabs hold of somebody else's drink left unattended.
Constitution
So-
saving throw.
Your mating rituals are quite a
21.
bit confusing.
This was yours, wasn't it?
Yes, but be my guest.
They poisoned it.
I'm sure. Isn't everything down here poisoned?
No. A proper centipede is not poisonous. It is venomous. There's a distinct difference. You can drink venom all night and day and be perfectly fine.
Not quite.
What the hell do you have up in the surface whose venom you can't drink? I mean, you drink venom that comes from black and white horses extracted from fangs that have absolutely no points.
Well, to
Those
be honest,
confused. She's talking about cows.
to be honest, I drink a lot of things, and much like you, most are surprised I'm still vertical for the most part.
You don't understand. And what is with plant sand?
Plant sand. Could you be a bit more specific?
You
'Cause
have plant sand at every tavern. Every time. With every meal. You add a little water. You beat it into submission. You shackle it within a small frame. Torture it within an oven. And gain bread. What is the surface's obsession with plant sand?
Oh, there's many things about that. Depends on what that sand is based on, the flavor that you'll get from the bread, as well as, oh hell, pretty much ale and beer are just bread in a glass. It's filling, it's cheap, and for the poorer of our society, it does make a good portion of a meal, so that it is filling. Regardless of what it gets stuck to in your mouth on the way down. As long as it's not stuck in your throat, you should be alright.
Why don't you just do the civilized thing and just feed your poor, the disembodied remains of the vanquished like civilized individuals?
They would consider that uncivilized. That generally goes to feed the beasts of burden that would require anything, and those that are actually of any kinds of means are typically afforded some type of burial or commemoration of some variety. It all depends. Well, the family,
I am
their
having a
circumstance.
conversation of meals while sharing a drink with a giantkin.
Yes.
Out of all my decades, I never thought this would be the day.
To be honest.
And then, for you to be dragged into your lonesome by a guard hoping to become a properly honored assassin, just to fail at that, for you to end up turning away in utter confusion. It's... If I did not see it with my own two eyes, I would not have believed you. You're funny. You're a funny giantkin, man.
Oh, I'm glad I can amuse you. Still not quite so certain as to what's so amusing, but at least somebody's getting their jollies.
What are jollies and how are they acquired?
Oh. You're laughing, right? That would be known topside as getting your jollies. You're having a laugh at my expense.
Not at your expense, tall one. Not at your expense. The absurdity of the threads of fate of which Lothia weaves. That is what I am laughing at.
Such is the absurdity of life, my friend. But, as I said, if it makes you laugh and brings joy to you, it makes me no never mind. Glad I could be of assistance.
And yet you seem to be less comfortable than... No. And it's best not to end up speaking of such things. It is a joyous time, a time of celebration. The surface and the Underdark coming together against a threat from beyond the veil. Odd times indeed.
I'll drink to that. And down another drink. Holy shit. That is the third natural 20 tonight.
Bro.
For a total of 22 on a
That
constitution.
bartender is really intent on killing you. There is something going on with that.
And as he finishes that and he looks at you and you've made a point of pointing out his discomfort, he says, the discomfort actually comes from in all the years of experiences in taverns and bars and inns and anywhere you could grab a drink. After such a night and such a meeting as, well, one of these days you'll have to explain that whole exchange between the two of you at the end, because I didn't quite understand all of it. I understand the words, but the way you put them together didn't quite make sense. I've never had anyone try to stab me. And I still don't understand what you mean that she likes me. Jalissa never tried to stab me after. I drank her under the table.
It's the fact she tried to stab you after having a way with you than before. That is how I know she likes you. She was still going to kill you. She might as well fuck you first, if only to end up experiencing what life would be like mating a giant.
Well, I promise you, if you ever try, it's just that. You're certainly welcome to try.
No,
But,
no. I am
thought
already.
You had interests in Imbro.
She covers her face.
Or was I mistaken? You look rather good together. You both seem to smile a bit more when you're around each other.
It's not so simple. It's not so simple. Even if I were to do so, right? Say that we're a union. Let us consider both possibilities. The first is, are we even capable of having children together? Possibility is high, but not completely without. In which case, I would be the last of the Mariam. Many of my sisters have forsaken the bloodline. The men can't carry the name into their progeny, for the progeny are now the property of the house they have been bartered off to. So, that leaves me. Now, if there was a coupling, there would no longer be drow. There'd be a half amalgam of something of surface and not. And how would they be received? I have no doubt on the surface you have seen many individuals be completely strange and odd. You, Kaz, Arya, Vanya, all strange, but so it would be not so strange for you. But in this tavern, look about. Even now, you still draw eyes, Giantkin. And the same would be true of our children. And then would they still command this respect, even if House Mariel was at its height? Or would it be considered scandalous? These are the things that weigh on my mind as I consider it. And before you speak, I already understand what all of you have been saying. To throw caution to the wind, let come what may. It only matters on how he makes you feel. But this is not my way. And while I have tried, truly I have tried, though I may fail at times, to respect the traditions upon the surface, even if they run against my own morals, for lack of a better term, I am still... He's got a nice smile. He's not drow, and he's... The children would end up being something that I wouldn't know how to explain. They would be drow yet not, and they would be a breed, a lesser thing. And upon the surface, they may become to great prominence, but within here, they would be treated as something else. Would I be so cruel as to end up doing that to my own bloodline? If I were considering proper, I would dismiss the notion outright and go to a proper house and offer proper coin to end up purchasing a mate proper from a house of higher prominence. That would be the proper way to do such things. If I was not exposed to what it is up there.
As you say all of this, there's a look of shock and horror that crosses Lagan's face about your description of what the children between you and Imbrel would be. Thinking about what would be said of the coupling between himself and Miss Tayar. And yet you still have a smile when you speak of Imbrel on your face. But if that's how you feel of one closer to your kin than mine, what would be said of the coupling should a union such as myself and Miss Tayar produce offspring, and they remain here? Would they still be treated the same as you speak?
No, they'll be sold off. One such as large as you would they'd probably end up being house servants, considered partial embarrassment, but proper martial force. If they're incredibly lucky, they will be... If they're incredibly lucky, they'll be dead before they come of age. If not, then perhaps they'll end up finding a place in their service or sold off as a curiosity. Perhaps experimented upon to end up understanding on how that coupling could even happen. If they're really fortunate, and Loth is particularly whimsical, though I don't imagine her being such a thing, perhaps their overgrown stature from you will end up making them into a formidable raiding party or gladiator to a morbidly curious crowd. That's the truth of it.
Oh. I know you don't understand it, but I'd say you've been fortunate coming from the top side. In the communities that you've seen that what you might consider half-breeds are mostly accepted. But there's a side of that you don't see. There are parts of this world where the couplings of such unions as you spoke of are not... Take, for instance, my friend Kinman. I know you've met him. He's a
Yes, I'm
half-elf.
familiar. I was
There are
always
many...
curious about Kimlin. Like, is that a coupling of
human
I don't
and
know, some
elf.
kind of bronze man and a high elf?
He was a coupling of a human and an elf. And in some areas, and there are quite a few around this world, he's not human enough to be accepted there, and he's not elf enough to be accepted by most of the elves. He found a community that accepted everyone, and they took him in. But that's not a very common occurrence, especially for those that are considered half-breeds, like you spoke. And oftentimes they wind up in, well, forced gladiatorial arenas, such as the ones at the Red Hawk Keep. Essentially slavery.
Well, hopefully they were bartered for good coin.
It depends.
No, I understand. I understand that it's not the way you do things on the surface, and to you and the rest of the Lucky Sevens, it is not even a consideration. You see Kinwin, he looks at you in that way, and you feel your heart struggle against itself. And when he stumbles with his words, when he's flustered, you smile as you watch him struggle to end up finding his footing in the conversation, almost like he's playing against a web, struggling, about to be eaten. And he makes such funny noises when he does that. You can't help it. You want to end up binding him up and taking him back. Make him yours. And in the surface world, that is acceptable. But down here, in my home, such unions are frowned upon, to say the least. And yet, I cannot bring myself to swear off the one thing that binds me here. To do so I would no longer be a Lyra of House Marielle. And I believe if Arya was here, she would be the first to say it was a Lyra of House Marielle that captured his eye. Besides, I'm not even sure if he likes me or if he's just too terrified to say no. Not that I'd give him the option, but
you, if given the opportunity that I had with Miss Tayer, at the end of such an event, would you attempt to stab Emberl the way she tried to stab me?
no, All right. I ended up laying claim to Umbrella. She was just curious to end up having a moment and decided to end up striking after her fun. Honestly, the degeneracy of doing so would be a stain upon her house if it were to get out. Hence, the later incursion.
So that's what that fight was about. Okay.
It was allowing her to save face.
I see.
It's the court of politics that you need to understand down here. Everyone is trying to kill you and take what is yours. Only appropriate. Loth only rewards the cunning, after all, and the strong. And we have a test. We have a test for commanders who would rise to prominence, where a box with holes in it of various shapes and sizes is presented, along with blocks of comparably different shapes and sizes. And this affords us 2 officers, those who showcase a modicum of intelligence, and those who are insanely strong.
I think I would probably be the latter.
Hence her assassination attempt, a poor attempt and a poor choice, trying to live beyond her station.
So that was an assassination attempt. I did not understand
flattered
that
you.
part of the ritual. I did not understand that part of the ritual. That's why I was...
If it got out that she was bedding a giant kin, that would end up ruining her reputation. You dying in the process covers her quite nicely, while allowing her to explore her fetish.
Failing in the attempt further exacerbates the embarrassment. And Lagan's not really being exactly quiet. I don't know how many people are in the bar at this point. he has been drinking quite a bit, so I'm assuming he's gotten a bit louder than when he first come in. I'm assuming the people at the bar can still hear what he's saying, so everybody in the bar now knows what's going on in this conversation.
She's not correcting this. She's just letting this and going, I'm not the one saying it. Blame the Goliathkin that she tried to bed.
He's not stupid, but he's not the most intelligent. He's definitely not the sharpest tool in the drawer. So
The rest of the Lucky Sevens are around here somewhere, figuring out.
Oh yes, they are. I'm just saying that everybody that is still currently down here on the, maybe a couple above the the area where he is, are hearing this conversation as well through the floors. He's very confused by all of this. He's kind of starting to grasp the embarrassment issue, but he doesn't understand why that would be an embarrassment. And you can kind of see, if you even attempt to make any kind of insight, that he's not hiding that he's very confused by all of this. I don't understand your politics, Alira. Maybe if I had grown up here, I'd understand.
I do not understand the politics that go upon the surface one. But I try. And I muck about. And I let those who know speak of it. And I remain silent as I don't. Besides, last thing I am responsible as the Queen's envoy to the surface to represent the best of the Drow. Even if everyone else down here thinks of my house as some form of vestigial limb of an age gone by, now only fit to shepherd spiders for mounts later on. But hope to a prosperous House Maria.
Lagan will clink his glass with yours and take another.
Now,
Okay.
unfortunately, I realize that I have now ingested poison meant for you. Implying that you have not only been attempted assassination by a woman who tried to bed you, and poisoned not only by the bartender, but the musicians, and the Hurgon. And I'm 99% certain that the band has been trying to crudely cast some kind of power word kill on you every time they have played. And yet you are still sitting here making them all further confused. Which is great at this point as an onlooker. But I'm concerned on how many individuals in this bar have been trying to kill you and you have been completely unawares the entire time. So before this escalates any further,
21 on the last Constitution. 22, sorry.
I will suggest you pay your tab as to not give the Piv any incentive to try any further, as I'm 99% sure the bartender is currently using a message spell to speak to his poisoneer in hope to get something that might actually end up working on you and not serve as a fucking garnish to your drink.
Lagan pulls out his hammer, Mjolnir, and slams it on the table. Anybody that wants to take an attempt at me should do so to my face.
Not how it works down here. It has to be subtle. Has to be in the shadows. Plausible deniability. That's half the fun.
That's why you pay somebody to do it and you sit back and you watch them.
Yet you don't challenge them. You do it in alleyways. You do it with poisons. You do it with panache.
Lagan leans over and puts an arm around you. The last person that tried something like that in an alleyway?
You fuck them.
No.
Oh, okay.
I heard Kaz say something about having a conversation with the rest of y'all, and the rest of y'all trying to have a conversation with me. I don't know whatever happened to it, but yeah, that was before we disappeared for a bit and lost 5, 6, 7 years? Whatever. I got my ship back, that's all that matters.
So you put your arm around her, pull her in, start talking.
Mm-hmm.
As you talk about your ship, well, at least we got our ship back. That's what matters. What you now catch is Alira is now passed out, drooling on your chest, completely out. Like, this is comfortable.
Okay. Lagan would wave someone down, pay our tab, and how much for a room? Looking around the room, trying to see if he can find Vanya or Arya anywhere.
They're around.
Honestly looking for help now because he doesn't know what to do with a drunk drooling Lyra on his arm.
By this point, Kaz and Kurobe have already gone to bed, so.
Well, I think I and Vanya would also be heading back up at around this time, and with Lagon being like, help! I just give him one look, grimace, and then continue up the stairs.
Lagan is
Vanya
going to...
just gives him a look. That's your problem, not ours.
We're such a good team.
So I'm assuming we
Jason
have
Fulbright,
rooms then?
I'm not lifting that.
I'm assuming we have rooms then?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Lagan is going to scoop Alira up bridal style and carry her upstairs. And try to find an empty bed in one of the rooms.
You're so strong, Amir.
Lagan is going to put Alira to bed and then lay down in the floor in front of the door so nobody else can get in. Having
in
heard
full
this
plate,
entire
though. That's
conversation,
not going to be comfortable to sleep in.
To be fair, she's also drunk. That's not going to be comfortable to wake up in either.
she's very drunk. Lagan would at least take the plate off and set it beside her while he puts her to bed. And then, like I said, he's going to curl up in front of the door so that nobody can get in, having heard all of your attempts at assassination and put a glyph of warding on the window in case anybody tries to sneak in that way. And it's going to be a 6th level shatter should anyone attempt to do so.
Damn. Fuck that guy.
Yes.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy, fuck that girl, fuck everybody in the next fucking block. Well, at least the next 20 feet.
Okay.
Fear.
Well, with the... pardon me. With that, I think that's a good spot for us to call that a session for the night. Which, next time, you will be on your way back to the Grioran Empire. The option to teleport is there, but that means leaving your ship behind over at the pool, the lake that's south of the mountains that you're under. So that's up to you guys. But we'll come back to that next time. Thank you guys so much for playing. Lovely session. A much needed character session was needed today. So I'm glad you guys had fun with that. Derek having a lot of fun with Alira for sure. Yeah. We love Alira.
Can't help it. I love the little complexities and the horribleness that happens just because of where she is.
She's so cute. She's just so cute. We love her. Well, that being said,
I gotta give it to Mojo and I gotta give it to Mojo and Specs for the cell though. Like, holy shit! Thank you very much, both of you.
Ooh.
And it, like,
Thank you.
For sure.
no.
Lagan has now decided he prefers a drunk Alira.
Oh no.
She actually talks to him without talking down to him.
Yeesh.
She still confuses him, and he doesn't understand the politics of everything going on. But he likes her a lot better when she's drunk. They can actually talk without getting angry at each other.
Social lubricant, as it's called. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, with that being said, let's move on to some experience. Obviously, I did put a handout in the Roll20 as to what you collected from the Illithid layer, as a broadly. But as far as the experience goes for today, we do things very, very specifically my way because it's arbitrary and that's what I said so. So, everybody gets 5 for showing up. So, thank you guys for coming to my TNT
Participation!
game. Yes, participation experience.
Woo!
We love having you guys here, so I like to reward those to do so. And there wasn't really a whole lot in the way of objectives that was obtained today, so I think another 5 is perfectly fine. It was kind of expected that General Roderus and the Queen would come to an agreement, and make good on that agreement. So let's talk about some player voted experience. Now we've got the poll and Twitch with you as the viewer. You get to decide who your favorite is. That could be based on appearance. That could be based on the roleplay that was done today. That could be anything arbitrarily that you decide. So you as the audience pick out who your favorite as far as the player characters are. And I want to thank the Raiders from Void Doll from coming in here just at the end, so you guys can also vote. So throw some channel points.
Void.
Yep. Throw in your votes because we've got some very beautiful art by the lovely and talented Macabre Derek that is portraying all of these characters. So let's decide now. But for my players, we've got some roleplay prompts for you guys to decide between. So, who did our plot pushing today?
I'm gonna say Alira. The personal plot of getting this whole thing done and then coming back and having her moment with the Queen.
Yeah, I would second it. Alira focus plot.
Yep, Alira.
Thank you.
Unanimous then.
I guess so.
Best scene from tonight. Whether that's funny, tragic, haunting.
I'm gonna end up giving that to Mojo.
Yep, Lagon for the final scene. Well, mostly just the entirety of that last scene with getting drunk and almost getting assassinated by the person you're betting, and then also talking with Alira.
I love the idea that, in typical Drow fashion, everything here is designed to kill you if you don't have your wits about you. It's not that Lagon's particularly sharp or witty. He's just tough enough to tank through this and be completely oblivious that everybody in the room has been trying to kill him since he got here. And he just thought, oh, I guess this is a little bit more bitter than I'm used to.
I also really like that concept.
Yeah. I'll take it.
How funny. Well, I heard 1 vote for Lagon.
It's 2 votes for Lagon.
2 votes for
That's
Lagon.
2.
Okay. Any other takers?
Nope.
No? Unanimous then? Alright, Lagon, you are the best scene tonight.
I'll take it.
Best line?
Oh, okay. That is a mix. Okay, we got 2 lines. The best one would be, at least coming from me, was the whole idea of plant sand. It takes a second. It's like, oh, she's talking about flour. Flour is an alien concept to a drow. Okay, that was funny.
Alira got audience vote.
Yep. Alira was the audience.
Thanks, guys.
Wow.
And there was one from Arya that was the whole bit of realizing what Arya really wants. Like,
Was
Yeah.
That whole moment. I love that from Arya.
Yeah, on that same subject, that would have to be my line from the night, but it's actually from Alira. It is, I want to believe that House Mariel is not dead. That was my line for the night.
That was the one I was going to
Mhm.
put a lira for as
Same.
well.
Okay, well, it sounds like Alira's got the majority.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Alira, you got the best line and the audience's favorite too. Thanks
Damn.
to CJ.
Been a while since I almost did a full sweep.
Yep.
Thank you.
Dope.
Well, with that being said, thank you guys so much for playing, and so all of you out there in Twitch for watching. I promise I am uploading the previous episodes of Rebirth. I just had to edit them very heavily because they were all broken as hell. So, with that, I will be throwing all of the episodes, the backlog episodes up right away, whereas today's episode will go up at its usual time, next week Saturday at noon, so that it gives us plenty of time to get caught up and everything. So, with that being said, you can also, if you're on YouTube and you're not following on Twitch, you can see all of our links down below in the comment section. Do all of the likes, subscribe, all of the things for the doobly doos, and we'll see you here on Twitch because that's where we do everything live. The next stream is going to be on Wednesday with more of our Cyberpunk Red actual play, so give that a watch when we go live again there. But check out the Discord because that's where everything gets posted, where I go live, and you all can jump in off of links I post there. So that being said, it is getting late. Let's find somebody to raid and say goodnight, everybody.
What
Night,
sand?
Fucking plant sand.